Hi guys, in this episode of Zone, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts to the 21st episode of the 11th and final season of one of my favorite shows ever, The Walking Dead. The episode is funnily enough called Outpost 22, which, why did they do that when they could have just easily called it Outpost 21 and it would have worked with the episode, or why didn't they make this episode 22? I don't know, but it's kind of annoying me. As somebody who is very much a perfectionist, it kind of annoys me how it's almost a really cool name, but yeah. This was actually a pretty fun episode, honestly. I have so many aspects of the episode that I really enjoyed. It kind of finally felt like what I think this whole final season should have been like, and I'm gonna get into exactly what I mean by this in a little bit, but I just want to make it clear that I am recording this video after having seen episode 22 as well. I just was really kind of bored and not really in the mood to do this review when I watched the episode, so I'm doing it a little bit well, a week after. So I'm sorry if there's some spoilers about episode 22. I'm gonna do my best not to bring up anything from it, but yeah, just so you know. I guess the only thing that I can bring up about it is that I liked this episode far more than episode 22. Not that it was bad, I just liked this one better because, like I said, it felt like it had everything I wanted from this final season. And the biggest thing, I guess, or the most important thing that it had was kind of the emotional aspect of it, and like actually having the character reminiscence and talk about the theme of the season, or what should have been the theme of the arc with the Commonwealth. Because like the Commonwealth is all, it's not just all this new community with bad people leading it who just conquer other communities, which is something we've seen before. I feel like the arc has been a little bland because they haven't really leaned into the cool aspects of the Commonwealth, like the class system, and in general having the characters reminiscent and clash with being back in a working society after 10 years of the zombie apocalypse. I don't think they've really delved into that shit. Maybe a little bit in the early episodes of the Commonwealth, like episode 10 or whatever it was, but they haven't really done it properly, even then. I feel like in this episode maybe got a little bit of a glimpse of it, but it kind of came off a little bit as show, as tell rather than show kind of thing. And it just kind of saddens me that we didn't get what they were talking about there. Because there's this really nice scene between Maggie and Carol. I really liked how both acted it out. It was a surprisingly emotional scene in a way that we haven't gotten, I feel like, this season. At least I haven't felt this kind of, oh wow, this is actually really good emotional moment kind of thing. Because I feel like this whole season, like, the emotional moment has always kind of been meh for me. Like, remember when Alden died? Something that I'm still kind of mad about because of the execution of the death more than anything. But like, in that scene, I'm supposed to feel sad that Alden is dead. Like, Maggie was fucking wailing, and I didn't feel a thing. In this scene, Maggie was just crying because she is separated from her kid for the time being, and I guess there's the danger that she's never gonna get him back again. But she is separate from him, and she feels sad about it, and Carol is there to comfort her by saying things that Pamela was afraid of us. In the Commonwealth, with society being back to normal, we all kinda separated ourselves and went into our own little worlds there, and we weren't acting like a family anymore, like how it would have been in the old world. And she was talking about how after the zombie apocalypse happened, these people who have never met each other or looked at each other even on the street in the old world became family. Something that has been a theme in previous seasons of the show as well. I think back in like season 6 it was when they went to Alexandria. And Carol says that the Commonwealth kind of took advantage of the fact that it's like the old world to kind of separate them, because when they work together as a family, they are a threat to Pamela, and that's why she split them up like that, or I guess that's why her society is like that. It's like the whole idea of the class system being a thing that is supposed to separate people, so the people above are not overthrown. And I wish we are actually shown that. I wish we actually had episodes where the characters were living semi-normal lives in the Commonwealth, and they were starting to, I guess, kind of act more like how they would in the old world, and they would clash as they would in the old world, to kind of show us the difference of how much of a family they have become in the zombie apocalypse. I feel like that could have been a really cool clash that we could have seen in this season, especially when you consider that this season already had like the Reaper arc early in the season with like the first 9 episodes. You could have really contrasted that first 9 episodes being super brutal and dark, the most brutal episodes of the show. If you really wanted to do it that way, you could have went super brutal. And maybe kill some of our main characters. And then you have the Commonwealth, which genuinely looks and feels like a modern city. You could have even shot it in an actual city rather than this stupid fucking set that we keep seeing. That could have been a really cool clash. And I don't know if that's exactly what the comics did, but I feel like that's what I would do in that situation, because it's a really cool thing. And even before, back in like, I think season 9 or 10 or whatever, I was wondering how they would do Darrow in the Commonwealth arc, because I feel like his whole thing about his character from the beginning of the show was like he was a redneck, then he became an integral part of the group, becoming kind of like his heart, its heart or whatever. Like he became a very valuable member of the group who wasn't just a redneck with a heart of gold, but an actual nice person. And I really wonder how they would handle that transformation of Darrow at the Commonwealth. Would he revert in some way, or will he kind of act more like an actual member of society or whatever? But I feel like they didn't really delve into that. Not at least in any meaningful manner. And having that scene in this episode just kind of reminded me what we could have gotten. Like, overall, I don't think this season is actually bad. Like, I'm starting to really get mad about the opinions people seem to be sharing and complaining about this final season. And I feel like I've mentioned it probably in the previous videos as well, but I feel like a lot of people are putting expectations on the show that the show itself never put upon itself, which I also did. I wanted this final season to be like the most epic and the best season of the show, but when has that been the case for a show? When has a show's final season been the best? I feel like it happens very rarely. And I definitely do not think the drop in quality, or whatever, if you want to even call it that, is bad or anything like fucking Game of Thrones' final season. Which, by the way, as we're on the topic of Game of Thrones, I do plan on reacting to Game of Thrones potentially after I'm done with my reactions to Ghost Whisperer, because I've been watching reactions to House of the Dragon and I've really been enjoying it, so I'm like now kind of interested to learn more about that universe, so that could be something that we could do next year. But yeah, so the final season is not that bad. I will ultimately reserve judgment for whenever I rewatch the show in its complete version, and then we'll judge the season for whether it's good or not. But at this point, I've kind of resigned to the fact that it is not going to feel exactly how I want it to. It's not going to be as epic as I want it to. Like, I kind of wanted another season 9, essentially. But that's not what we're getting with this season. And at this point, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm not even saying, like, criticisms are necessarily unfounded that people are having. It's just that I feel like at this point, this late into the season, you should be kind of resigned to the fact that it's not going to be what you want it to be, you know? So yeah, beside that scene, we actually had, I mean, pretty much every scene in this episode was actually really fun. Although, again, it's been a week since I watched the episode, so I don't really remember all of them. But I loved all the different character interactions, and I loved seeing all of our characters ending up together and working together and preparing to fight Pamela together. Like, all of that was cool. The action was really cool. We had a couple of comedic moments. Like, there was a lot of everything. A lot of cool action, a lot of cool emotion, a lot of cool character moments that it's kind of hard to really delve into one by one. So I will kind of do things a little bit differently now, where I'm gonna go through my notes, hopefully be reminded of the different scenes that we got in the episode and delve into them if I have something to say, because it's been a week since I watched it and I do not want to recap the whole episode like I used to. So, the first thing that I wrote down is the Commonwealth soldiers' cast, and I think that's in relation to the fact that in the opening of the episode, we have the Commonwealth soldier who is supposed to be guarding Maggie, Rosita, and Gabriel, who are being taken away by a truck. He fucking fell asleep, which I can't really blame him for too much, but I don't know, I feel like we're making the Commonwealth soldiers too dumb. At least until that scene, because later on we did get a bunch of scenes with Commonwealth soldiers, which kind of made them a little bit more threatening and capable at the very least, and more interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Next thing I've written is, show me first. That is kind of a joke that I wrote down because of the scene which happened there, which reminded me of a scene from season 7. And I'm talking about the scene where Rosita and Gabriel are jumping off the truck and are obviously supposed to drop and roll when they jump off the truck. And that reminded me back in season 7 when Jesus and Carl were sneaking into the sanctuary, and Jesus told Carl that they had to leave the truck before it gets into the sanctuary. But since Carl didn't know how to jump off of the truck properly, he asked Jesus to show him first. And Jesus did do that. But then it turned out that Carl just wanted him to leave the truck and he stayed back. And Jesus made a joke in that scene that Carl tricked him by saying, show me first. And it's just a really funny moment that I remember from season 7, which was otherwise a very depressing season. It's one of my favorite scenes from that season, actually. Next thing I've written is Jesus Christ the Gore, and that is in relation to the very, very cool and gory shot in the beginning of the episode of the guy who was driving the truck who got his brain blown out. Like his face is like the face of that guy from the Jigsaw reboot, not the most recent Jigsaw movie, but the Jigsaw reboot from I think like 2017 or something it was. It was like a fucking flower. It was split open. It was so gory. Jesus Christ. I loved it. Next thing I've written is driving over the camera. Cool shot. I think that is probably a shot when the trucks were continuing to drive and they drove over the camera. I don't really remember it, but I must have liked it if I've written it down. So there's that. Next thing I've written down is nice, subtle fuck. I love it. And that is obviously in relation to the scene where Rosita and Gabriel are talking after jumping off of the truck and it being the next day, how they're listening to the radio and learning about who escaped and who is still captured and where they're going and everything. And Rosita says, kind of while whispering, she says fuck. And I love how much variation there is between the different types of saying fuck. And boy, was the one for episode 22, not this episode, a really fucking cool way to say the word fuck. But I'm gonna keep my thoughts on that for the next video. Next thing I've written down is shut up, Ginger Negan, and that is in relation to the villain of this episode and the next one, who was the guy in charge at the labor camp where our characters were sent to. He kind of reminded me of Negan, just ginger. I don't know, he's just general demeanor, his kind of look and everything just reminded me of Negan quite a lot. And he's been really cool how that kind of, I guess, rivalry and clash that we had between him and Negan, especially in the next episode. So that was cool. I definitely liked him, but I wish we kind of got more of him. We've gotten so many cool villains in the Commonwealth soldiers, but none that were really long-lasting. Like, imagine if we had all of these guys from the beginning. I feel like it could have been cooler. Next thing I've written down is Negan looking good. And that is in relation to, for whatever reason, Jeffrey Dean Morgan just looked better as Negan in this episode. Like, he was better groomed, with his hair looking better and everything. And that's why, honestly, I put him in the thumbnail for this episode. Because he looked really, really good in this one, so, yeah. The next thing I've written is I love the atmosphere. The Walking Dead in the fall is always the best. And yeah, I generally kind of connect the fall and winter. Well, not so much winter, but the fall and like the colder months of the year with The Walking Dead so much because generally the Walking Dead season used to be shot in a way where the endings of the seasons always kind of happened in the fall. Like, remember how it started getting colder towards the end of season 2, how it started getting colder towards the end of season 3. Not so much towards the end of season 4, but it was still there. You could still see it, just not as much. Towards the end of season 5, similarly, it's not as noticeable, but it is kind of there. Then it's definitely there for the ending of season 6. It feels fucking cold, and very much like it's in the fall. For season 7, we don't really have that fall feeling. Maybe a little bit for season 8. For season 9, we got goddamn winter, so I don't know if I can even bring that up, but it definitely felt like fall, especially that bike scene, part of the reason why I flipping love it. For season 10's final episodes, I guess we also got it, but not as much. I feel like we got more of that in the 10C episodes. Definitely felt more like the fall. And for season 11, again, we are getting into that period of time, so I'm here for it. But especially, I just love the kind of wet atmosphere, as in literally the atmosphere that we had. Next thing I've written is, man, you don't see kid walkers that often, and that is in relation to that kid walker that we saw in the episode, which was kind of chasing Maggie and was reminding her that this could be her show if she doesn't find him and save him soon enough. That is honestly probably my least favorite part of the episode. I feel like they kind of hammered it in a little bit too much. Like, seeing that walker the first time would be fine, but then they had the whole extensive scene where she puts it down. I feel like that was kind of unnecessary, and we got a similar unnecessary scene in the next episode, so that kind of pisses me off, because we have so many characters in the cast that could have gotten that screen time, but no, Maggie has to whine about her kid twice an episode, apparently. The next thing that I've written down is, it's the not knowing that's killing me. Which I'm not 100% sure whether Maggie said that in the episode or not, because I don't watch with subtitles. Because nowadays they just kind of distract me, and I kind of want to experience the episodes first visually before I understand the dialogue and everything. I used to watch them with subtitles, and I feel like I remember them more when I watch them with subtitles. But yeah. I think she said that, I'm not 100% sure, but that kind of reminded me of season 2, season 2, when Carol lost her daughter, and I'm pretty sure she also said that to Dario or somebody else, how it's the not knowing whether she's alive or dead that was killing her. And it was really nice that she said that to Carol. I'm pretty sure that was in the that Maggie said the same thing to Carol, and I'm pretty sure it was in that whole scene that I talked extensively about in the beginning of the video, where they were talking about how the Commonwealth separated them because they would be too much of a threat to the Commonwealth if they weren't, you know. The next thing I've written down is, our group are gonna fuck shit up. And now in retrospect, I can't believe how fucking accurate that fucking line is compared to what we got as the cliffhanger of the next episode. It was hilarious. It is honestly kind of hilarious, but yeah. I think it was probably in relation to the sequence with the train, which was pretty cool. I like that. The next thing I've written down, and it's honestly a little bit hard to decipher because I kind of clumped together a lot of bullshit. So give me a second. But if I hadn't seen the trailer, I would have thought that Connie would either go to the CRM or France. Because in the episode it was being talked about, Connie was being taken separately for whatever reason. And they were talking about that she was going to be sent to Designation 2 or something, which according to a Commonwealth soldier, which Daryl captured, was revealed to be somewhere or some kind of thing where people get taken far, far away, never to be seen again. And that could mean only two things, or I guess three if you think about it. It could mean the CRM, being captured, taken to the sold to the CRM for experimentation. It could mean going to France, depending on how Daryl goes to France, or it could be fucking Padre from Fear the Walking Dead, because that's also a thing. And depending on what they do with Padre in season 8, it could become another big threat like the CRM. Who knows? Next thing I've written is, I wish Daryl jumped with the bike. And that is, again, in that scene with the train, where we have Daryl chasing off after one of the soldiers escapes with a motorcycle. And it obviously means, with the way they shot it, it means he had to have jumped from the train with the bike, because the bikes were on the train platform thing. And for him to... And they showed us him getting on the bike, but not him jumping off of the thing. I know it would have been a dangerous stunt. Don't get me wrong. I know it. But not showing him jumping off of the train, not only did it rob us from a really cool action set piece, but it just felt jarring, which kind of made it really annoying in the episode. And, like, it made the issues with the episode that much more glaring. When they do these kind of shortcuts, it really fucking pisses me off. Because you could do this cool shit. You could make this so entertaining to me. But you don't. For whatever reason. And I feel like the show does that shit nowadays way too much. It's the same shit like when they kill a walker, but they do it just off screen enough to where you can see it, but not. It's not as satisfying as killing the walkers in the early seasons, you know? Next thing I've written is, tell us where our people are and we'll injure you. And that is in relation to the scene where after our group captures the guy who was driving the train, they want to interrogate him about where our friends are, where their friends are. And just the way Carol says that line there is really funny, how she says, just tell us where our friends are and we'll just injure you lightly, or something along those lines. Like, the way she kind of says it is like a threat, even though she's trying to be nice, and actually she's telling him that they'll injure him enough to where he's not gonna be suspected for giving up the secrets of the Commonwealth or whatever. But he decides not to do that, and he just kills himself. Although I fail to understand, how does that protect his family? Because that's the whole reason why he didn't want to tell. But how are they gonna be protected when you're dead, dumbass? And yeah, that's literally what I wrote afterwards. That helps nobody. Killing himself. Next thing I've written down is Negan and Zeke working together. And that is in relation to the scene where Negan and Zeke had a talk about Negan's past and everything. And I love how people fucking had to kind of be so happy that Zeke brought up Negan's wife's situation once again. Because I've had a lot of heated debates over on Are the Walking Dead about that shit. And how I personally don't consider it rape. Not that I wouldn't consider it that thing IRL, but I'm saying in the situation that they were, considering the world that they live in, it's not really rape. Because in that situation, those wives had the choice to either be soldiers like the other people, to be workers like the other people. They were not forced to be wives. They had choices. Sure, it was a little bit under duress, but again, I don't see how that is any different than being essentially forced by society to be a prostitute or something like that, because there's no other way for you to make money, or you're in a shitty situation in life. Not that that is the only reason why you would do it, but it's not really different to that. In my eyes, at least. Sure, there are a couple of cases, like Sherry and her sister, I think it was, or something. But, again, I feel like in those, it's not as clear-cut as people are making it out to be. With Sherry's case, she offered herself. She's still, even if she doesn't truly want to be with Negan, that is kind of irrelevant to that whole argument. Because she consented, whether it was because she wanted to save her husband or not, it doesn't matter. She offered herself. Yeah, in real life, I would still consider it wrong. But in a show, in a zombie apocalypse show, it's kind of hard to make me believe that it is rape. I'm open to changing my mind, but I have yet to hear an argument that convinces me that it is rape. Especially because for me, rape has specific connotations of, I guess, violent penetration, and I guess I don't consider coercive sexual assault the same as rape. Like for me, rape is, I guess, the worst thing you can do in that regard. Whereas coercive sexual assault is kind of a little bit different, where you could potentially manipulate the person, but they still kind of consent. It's like consenting when you have drank alcohol. You still consented even if you are under alcohol. Like that, for me, would be more sexual assault under coerced sexual assault rather than rape. But yeah, I don't know. The final thing that I wrote down is they are fucking with the wrong people, which is essentially what that scene at the end there, where Maggie was saying how they're gonna get their home back, they're gonna save their friends and kids, and Pamela is never gonna see it coming. It was essentially that in just more of an extended manner. And by the way, it took me a hell of a long time to figure out that they were talking about Alexandria. Alexandria was the place where the prisoners from our group and other background extras were taken to stay at. It took me way too long to figure it out. Despite the fact that I knew that Alexandria was turned into Outpost 22 due to behind the scenes photos from a long time ago, I still didn't connect 2 and 2, funnily enough. But yeah, this was a really, really fun episode. Lots of emotion, lots of action, still some issues, but honestly probably one of the best episodes of the season if you ask me. And in terms of a rating, that's why I'm honestly going to give it like a 9.4 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed this episode. It was really fun. It was really good. I don't know how it really compares towards compared to the whole show, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I enjoyed it compared to the rest of the season, you know. Still not flawless, but it was pretty good. But yeah, what did you guys think about this episode? Comment thoughts down below and let's have a discussion about it. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently 8 patrons on Patreon. Omar Bijman, Deadpool, August Dice, Little Uzi, Corby Dead, Shironyan, Etsap123, and Weed God 6969. I also want to give a huge thanks to Omar Bridgman for also supporting me on Coffee. Thank you very much for that. It means a lot that you are supporting me on both of the platforms, even though you don't need to. But thank you guys for your support in general. It really means a lot to me that you have decided to support me, and I hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos for my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon or to my Coffee account, where you can pledge support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine, because you help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!